This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CPTnews.com.
Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick with CBT News. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. Credit card processing fees have long been a costly challenge for auto dealers. So how exactly do you pass it on to customers? Here to discuss a solution to this pain point, which many dealers have, as you know, is Amberly Allen, who's the founder and managing partner of Dealer Merchant Services, a company dedicated to helping dealerships cut down on costs. They're endorsed by 14 states, and working with some of the largest auto groups in the country. That's why we love the fact that you're back and you took some time out of your schedule to join us. I might also add that you're going to be at NADA, so for dealers that want to learn more after you hear what we say today, and I know you're going to be interested, be sure to stop by their booth to get the rest of the story, I should say the whole story. Also spend some time with Amberly. She's got some great offers for you as well. We're going to show all the information on the screen here to do that. So welcome back.
Thank you.
So
Thrilled to be back with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we should mention that you took some time out of your schedule on the last trip, and we got so many positive responses when we ran the video. A lot of people commented and said, you got to have her back again. We want to know more. We want to know what's the deal here. You know, maybe this is an area that we really do need to delve into, not just for a cost savings, but also for compliance issues, as we talked about last time. So some of this may be a little bit redundant if you've heard some of this before, but I want to make sure that we pick up new viewers every single day, and some people need to hear things 2 or 3 times before it finally sinks in. So tell us first and foremost about Dealer Merchant Services, who you are and what you do.
Well, I've been in and around the dealership space since my early 20s, so 22 years in the business, and dealers recently have been allowed to pass along these credit card fees to their customers. But to your point, Jim, it's a complex issue, and we want to make sure that dealers are doing this the right way. There's some complexities with compliance. There's some legal complexities, and also you have to think about your consumers and their sentiment as you pass along these fees. So we really touch on all of those things and want to make sure dealers are doing it the right way.
Okay. So doing it the right way and also saving them a ton of money in doing that, right?
That's right.
So it's really a double win for dealers. I understand there's a legal and compliance requirement when it comes to surcharging. Explain some of these things, both on the state regulations and the card brand compliance as well, right?
That's right. So it's legal in all the states except Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Maine. Okay. But also Colorado, New York, and California have very specific rules to follow. So we have the technology that handles all of those different nuances, but we cannot function in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Maine with what we call a compliant surcharge program. So we anticipate that will change sooner than later, but for now it's not legal in those 3 states. And then there's some card brand compliance regulations, and when I say card brand, I mean Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. And what's important to note there is that they cannot charge a surcharge on any debit cards. And so we bring in new technology into the dealerships with new machines, new credit card machines. And those machines have the technology built into them that actually know the difference between a credit card and a debit card. And so to be able to run a compliant surcharge program, you have to have the technology to ensure that no surcharges are being added to debit cards. And that technology will be brought in with new machines.
Great. I think probably a lot of dealers are listening to that thinking, do I have that? Do we have those machines? Is it possible they just don't have those machines?
It's possible. Most dealers that start on this program, we have 825, they all needed new machines. Very rarely can we reprogram their current machines.
Gosh.
So
how was that being done? Was it just manually where the cashier says, here's the deal, and you...
Well, so with a surcharge program, the machines actually know the difference. So they know it's a debit card based on the first 8 digits on the card. It's called a bin range identifier, but what's important there is even if a customer doesn't have their PIN code, our machines will know that it's a debit card and the surcharge won't be added. So a lot of dealers will ask, well, what if they want to run it as a debit card, but not as a PIN, as a credit sale? The technology built into these machines will be able to handle that. So your employees don't have to know the difference. The machine does all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And in 2024, it should be that way, right?
Right.
So can you explain the differences in a cash discount program versus the compliant surcharge program?
Yes, absolutely, Jim. So there's some interesting nuances because a cash discount program is a legal program. A compliant surcharge program is also legal.
Okay.
But as it pertains to automotive, it's so complex. A cash discount program only allows your customers to receive a discount if they have cash or checks.
Okay.
The problem with that is only 10% of consumers are carrying cash or checks anymore. And so it's really important with a compliant surcharge program, the customer gets the cash price if they use their debit card. Okay. And what we know there is 87% of consumers have a debit card in their wallet.
Right.
And so that really gives your customers that transparency of choice.
Okay. I was going to say the 10%. I'm surprised it's as high as 10%. I am never with cash.
I know,
never.
right?
I feel bad for these valet parkers that I pull up at a restaurant. I'm like, I just don't carry cash with me.
Well, and it's interesting because Venmo and Cash App, a lot of these valet parkers have those. They have Venmo and Cash App. And these companies have this exact same policy. They didn't have this 3% additional on credit card when they first started their business, but they do today.
Wow.
So it's 3% additional on credit, nothing additional if you use your bank account with Venmo and Cash App.
Okay.
And they have 135 million users now on those two platforms.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible.
The way that people pay for things is changing.
Yeah, I know my daughter who just left college, graduated from college, thank God. That's how we would keep in touch, through Venmo.
That's right, that's right.
She would just, can you Venmo me $100?
Sure, and there's a whole subset of customers that are used to paying that way.
Sure.
And so they also know that they get the 3% on credit, but they're not going to be charged a fee if they use their bank account. Dealerships need to have that same policy.
Of course.
Right?
Of
3% on credit only, nothing additional on debit.
What should dealers be concerned with most when considering a surcharge program?
Well, I would tell you that it's absolutely vital that they communicate it the right way to their customers.
Right.
We want to make sure that they're communicating upfront and often both prices.
Okay.
Based on our experience, the best practice is to communicate in parts and service at the time of estimate.
Okay.
You want to make sure, Jim, thanks so much for coming to the store today. Your RO is $103 if you use your credit card, but it's only $100 if you use cash, check, or debit.
Okay.
How would you like to pay?
Right.
And so what's important there is they're understanding both prices up front, so it's not a surprise at the end.
Right, you give them the option.
Yeah.
The word track is so vitally important.
Absolutely.
Otherwise you can kill that CSI score in a second.
That's right.
If somebody feels like, hey, you didn't even tell me there was a $3, and as we talked about earlier, a lot of people think that it's not legal to charge a surcharge, right?
That's
because
right.
of the way the law was written.
And it's fairly new,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so this is one of those fees that you can now legally charge to your customers in 47 states that you may not be yet charging.
Right.
But again, that word tracking piece of it is so important. We've trained and certified 14,000 dealership employees across the country specific to that compliant surcharge, specific to that word tracking. And we feel like that's really been the keystone to having our stores be so successful with an initiative like this.
Very cool. I bet in all 14,000 cases that all the people that you trained, they're like, oh, I didn't know that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So those are the people that you've got on the front line in your cashier booth and everywhere else in the dealership. You might not even know it that you're not compliant in these areas because they don't know it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's very interesting.
And we want to be a resource to all of the dealers, making sure that they understand the legal and compliance, they understand the word tracking. We even provide an analysis for them at no additional cost.
Sure.
They simply send us 3 months worth of credit card processing statements and we'll run an analysis for them and review their numbers. Let them know what they could save on a surcharge program. And also let them be armed with data with their current provider. If they're not ready to pass along that fee, oftentimes we find a lot of hidden charges.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. What questions do dealers not know to ask when to consider or in considering to choosing the right merchant provider?
Well, not all merchant providers are created equal, right? And what's important for us is we want to make sure that dealers are doing this the right way. This initiative is complex.
Right.
You have to think about wholesale parts and extended warranties. You've got to think about your accounting department or your body shop, things like that. And so I think it's really important to find a provider that understands the complexity of automotive.
Yeah.
Our checklist when we launch a store, which we actually go on site to the stores, has 93 items on that checklist for a reason because we've done it 800 times, so we know how to do it the right way.
You know what to look for.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And how are you different from a dealer's current provider? Because I'm sure a lot of dealers are wondering, well, I've got that covered already.
Sure.
Don't we have that, in our, aren't we covered in this area? Why should a dealer choose Dealer Merchant Services as their merchant processor?
Well, our absolute focus when we started down this path was to make sure that dealers could do this the right way within compliance,
Sure.
but really not messing with their CSI. Again, we know how important that is, but making sure they're communicating it the right way. A lot of times it feels like a merchant provider is commoditized, right? In the fact that your merchant provider can do this for you, but do they understand the complexity of automotive? Can they work with your accounting department and help you understand where to put that additional 3%? Right? Can they work with your service advisors? We have former service advisors on our team going out to these stores, word track training on that exact communication that needs to happen with their customers. And so to me, that is the biggest differentiator, is that we understand the complexity of the space.
Right. You got boots on the ground. I mean, if somebody works with you, then you've got people in the store training these people and answering questions and really getting them set up for success in this area.
Absolutely. So we have a twofold training process. It starts online with what we call our Dealer Merchant Services University. That's our online training platform. That's simply to breed familiarity about why are we doing this? Just like you said, is it legal? Maybe my employees didn't know that it was even legal, but we want to make sure we're communicating it the right way. So we help them get some familiarity around the word track and the new machines. That happens about a week before our team shows up. And so we actually show up at the store, we launch with them, we help their accounting department, wrap our arms around them and smooth out all the rough edges.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's really what's helped us be so successful with these stores. And make sure that they're doing it the right way and that, you know, it all goes smoothly.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because I know many times a dealer will sign up for something, especially at NADA or whenever somebody gives them a call and goes, oh yeah, this is great, oh my gosh, we'll totally support you. And from the time they sign that contract, they never see another person from that company. And they go, yeah, we're going to send you some online training and that's it. But you're actually right there in the dealership.
We are. And that really, again, we have 350 plus years on our team of automotive experience, right? And so that's what makes us different, but we want to be in the stores. Because that gives us an opportunity to troubleshoot when there is an issue. Because changing credit card processors affects almost every department. And so we want to make sure that everything is all in place.
That's great.
And that they're confident as they move forward with something like this.
That's fantastic. What if a dealer is not ready to pass along these fees? What can you provide to dealers who are not quite ready yet?
When we do our educational webinars, we ask them the last time they had a third party take a closer look at their numbers. And again, I would recommend that everybody take a closer look at their statements. It's a worthwhile exercise no matter what. I mean, we find hidden fees in almost all of these statements. And so we want to be a resource, lean on us. We will provide that analysis and just give them some great data points on what they're currently paying. So we want to shed some light on these hidden fees for dealers because 9 times out of 10 they're overpaying. They're not paying what they agreed to in the beginning. And so we want to be a resource to make sure they understand those numbers more than anything.
Last time you were in, we made the offer for you to do just that, help dealers in this area, no obligation. You were nice enough to say, we'll come in, show us what you're currently doing, let us take a look at it, let us run an analysis on it, and then get back to you and say, okay, here are our findings. And I know a number of dealers did that and found out, you know, there's a whole lot of money that we can save here. So for dealers that are listening, you know, once again, Amberly is offering this to you to just simply say, what are you currently doing? Let us take a look at it. It's not going to hurt. You know, maybe it keeps your current provider honest, or maybe you know, you go in the direction of dealer merchant services, take it to the next level and make a whole lot of money. Last time you were in, we talked about the fact that you're saving dealers between $5,000 and $15,000 per rooftop.
That's right.
It's an astounding number.
It's a huge number. We've saved the dealer body $38+ million since we've started. And a good rule of thumb is if they're spending about $10,000 a month, we can save them $7,000 a month. So drop that expense from 10 down to 3 on average. $84,000 a year, and just over $250,000 in net profit savings over 3 years.
My gosh.
And that's for every $10,000 they're spending. So you can imagine some of our per rooftop. So you can imagine some of our big groups are well into the 7 figures of savings.
That is
I also recommend some of your dealers talking to our dealers and really get their feedback. We'd be more than happy to give a list of resources.
And then also you guys work with all of the state associations, or most all of the state associations. I think that's how we came to you, was through a state association president that said, you got to get her on the show, because these are the solutions, as you know, that we want to be providing to our viewing audience, which which are made up of dealers and comptrollers and general managers and
Sure.
everyone else that's looking at that dealer statement going, how do we make more money at the end of the month? And the answer might be in the savings rather than having to sell or service more cars. You might be sitting on $5,000 or $10,000 a month
That's
dealers.
right.
This is an area that if I were a dealer today, and I'm not, it's been a long time, but if I was, this seems to me to be a no-brainer to, give Amberly a call. We'll show the information on the screen here. What have you got to lose? This is a no-brainer to call you in and say, show us what you're made of. What can you change here, right?
Absolutely.
And
just knowing your numbers is such a valuable exercise.
I think last time you were in, you said out of so many that you came into, like 99% you found that there were fees and you could save the dealer money. So this is kind of a...
I had a dealer group that didn't realize that they hadn't closed 18 merchant IDs, and they had spent $1,500, $18,000 a year on closed accounts that they were unaware of.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I can't tell you how many fees we've found.
That
so
is crazy.
Just in and of itself, just knowing these numbers and having somebody take a closer look is always a worthwhile exercise.
That's fantastic. And you're working with some 600, 700, 800 dealers now? Or
825 today.
Oh my God,
we anticipate another 1,000 over the next 12 to 18 months.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we're busy.
I would imagine the dealer that's saving this, tells his friend or her friend at a 20 group,
sure,
hey, you want to save 10 grand a rooftop real quick?
Yeah.
Give Amberly a call, right?
We've won best idea in a lot of 20 groups.
Oh, I bet.
A lot of them call us, and then
Yeah.
most of the 20 group is now working with us, things like that.
That's
We've
great.
got many of the boards within these state associations that are working with us. So the business has grown by referral, and that's, of course, the biggest compliment we could get.
That's fantastic. So, and a lot of these companies now, I whenever I have Jeff Dyke on, he's so excited about the power sports business that Sonic Automotive Group got into, and a lot of other dealers that I've spoken to have gone down that road where they buy a Harley Davidson store, or they buy a Sea-Doo store, or something like that, because of some of the profits they've made in the last 4 years. Not that those are around any longer. Now it's back to the normal car business, but you can help them in those areas as well?
Of course. So naturally we have dealers that have, just like you said, those offshoots. So we have lots of heavy trucking dealers. We spoke at ATD in Vegas, and we have RV stores, motorsports. We just recently acquired a couple of Harley stores. So we can work with all of them. And we're also making it a priority to work on those integrations within some of those heavy trucking companies as well. So, of course, we're working on all the integrations within automotive, but we're making it a priority with these other industries as well. So
that's
we can customize it however they need.
Yeah, that's fantastic, really is. And talk to me about NADA, which is just around the corner. You're going to be exhibiting there?
We are.
Okay, great.
So excited. Would love to have the dealers come by and ask any questions they might have. Again, we want to be a resource to make sure that they're doing it the right way, even if they go with their current provider.
Right. We're going to show Amberly's booth number right on the screen here. Stop by, put her on your short list for sure. This isn't something that you're going to want to miss. To me, if it were me, it's a no-brainer, but I know it's easy for me to say that. But at the end of the day, these are the kind of solutions we want to be bringing you from CBT News. It was the second time that you've seen Amberly on CBT News. Why? Because the first time we had her on, we had such positive response. Dealers said, get her back. We want to learn more about this. We want to have her in. Some dealers have already done that. You need to do it if this is an area that, by the way, if this is one of those things that you turn to your comptroller or your GM to say, hey, what's going on here? Is there any validity in what she's saying? Well, and they might say, I don't know. Let's get her in, do that, make the call. We'll show the information on the screen here as to how to get a hold of her, and stop by her booth when you're at NADA if you're going this year, which you should be going this year. So Amberly Allen, founder and managing partner of Dealer Merchant Services. You can see it right there on our screen. We can't make it any easier for you folks. Otherwise I'd pick up the phone and call for you myself, but I can't do that. So thank you so much,
Jim, thank you so much. What an absolute privilege.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CPTnews.com.